So now that has totally dried on the top there. Now if we were painting outside, that would have dried very, very quickly. So I'm just going to start with the darker colours and decided to use a bit of a sketch in the sepia pen just to get a bit of an outline of some distant trees. There's another hill that's down this way. Rather like the sepia pen, it's not quite as dark, doesn't quite as much interfere with the paint I want to use. It depends on how you want your particular sketch to be. If you want it to be more outlined, you can use a darker pen, a black. So I'm just making the tops of the trees there. There's another row of darker. This is just giving me an indication of how I want the depth to be. And I'm just looking at shapes. This is actually looking out onto the canal, so there's the inlet, so there's some shapes of light into the water. So I'm just going to draw those shapes in. And that is basically to remind me to leave the shapes and not paint over them because I want them quite clear. Okay, so that's, I have a few more trees coming up here. We've got a Norfolk Island pine tree. I'm just going to put this in a sketchily manner. You can see it's not hard, it's just doodling. So what I'm doing is just plotting out. There's another one there. Those two connected. This one's not quite as tall as the other one, so it's also quite a pleasing composition, not to have everything the same height. There's another, the drawing actually goes further over, but the picture I mean, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay. So my mix for, just going to clean this brush off. Some dark tone mixed up. See how it can be cleaned off. Okay, I'm going to use some of the red gold, just where this sunset light is coming in. Then into that I'm going to mix some Viridian into some red gold. And just into that puddle of paint, just drop in some colour. Okay, then I'm going to add in some black. So this is the Lunar Black. And some Viridian. So it's basically a green black. So with the Daniel Smith Lunar Black, it's a great base colour. It's a real dark to put in, mix it with other colours. Now, because I'm doing trees, maybe I'll switch to that other brush. this little fan brush. So I'll just wet that a little. You can even use your spray bottle. So I want this quite a dark inky black, green black. Yeah. So you can see it's really nice and dark, and I can use this brush to make the tops of those trees. So it's the depth of colour that is making the most of this scene. Dip into some water, a bit more viridian. Might just go with a little bit more red gold. Everything becomes too dry, just a bit of water. So I'm looking at the colour switches. Bit of gold coming down here. Then I'll switch back to this brush just to get in so there's some reflections of trees coming down here. So you can see I'm painting wet in wet too. And by doing that, you're getting this lovely softness. Now I'm painting around those little sketchy bits that I left, just to remind me that there's some reflections back into the water. A little bit more red gold. So when you want to weaken the paint, just squeeze. Bring down those tree reflections. Okay, so we've got some brighter greens through here. Now I'm just going to put some water in. Now this can be quite sketchily in the foreground. Just a little bit of light. And there's quite a shadow, which I'll use some of this dark colour that's already been mixed up. There's quite a shadow coming through here. So this will need to dry off a little bit before I can put in these nice darks here. What I do want to do is with some of that gold, we can dry it out. It's a little bit more colour into those reflections. Okay, all right, so this is starting to dry off. And what I'm thinking of with these trees is I could wait for this to totally dry and then just get my pen and do that and just sketch them back in. I'm just kind of thinking a bit of water on that. So when we're out at Broken Hill, maybe we can just pick up a twig. And if we've got a nice dark, sometimes this gives a more of a natural look. And also you can be using an implement of the area that you are in to directly sketch into your book. So I'm looking for something sharp to scratch into. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So you could leave it like that, or you could come back in with a pen and put some highlights in. Just, yeah, light against dark, dark against light always seems to work. Yeah, so I'm not, you know, it's okay. It's a quick little sketch. And then with my pen, I would be writing, so this was Sussex Inlet sunset. So I could go on and say something more about the day, Yeah, look, it's okay. It's just a quick sketch.